È da un po' di tempo che mi sto informando sul mercato immobiliare di Bali per appunto considerare un eventuale investimento qui, per cui in questi giorni che sono proprio a Bali ne ho approfittato per visitare alcune ville in vendita e fare due chiacchiere con un agente immobiliare locale che mi ha dato tantissime informazioni utilissime, per cui se stai pensando di investire a Bali o comunque di investire in Indonesia o in generale sei interessato all'argomento per capire un po' altre forme di investimento, beh, guarda il video perché c'è tutto quello di cui hai bisogno. Tengo a sottolineare che questi non sono consigli di investimento, non sono consigli finanziari. Con questo video voglio solamente condividere quello che ho appreso sull'argomento. I'm here with Veronique, a real estate agent here in Bali. She will show me some villas today. Present yourself if you want.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Veronique. I'm based here in Bali. I've been in real estate industry since 2015. So right now I have my own company and it's called Nuansa Property Solutions.
There are different ways to invest here in Bali for a foreign investor.
Yeah.
Which are these alternatives that we can have to invest here?
Okay, so actually the common ways is to buying leasehold property. Okay, however, when you're buying a leasehold property, of course you need to buy something for 20 years, 30 years, and you have to pay it upfront. Okay, and I understand a lot also it's happened. Some of my clients, they don't have such a big budget to invest, yeah. So sometimes they're looking for something within a short period of lease. So example like 5 years or 10 years.
Lease, so you basically you have the right to the villa, to the land.
Yeah.
And for 20, 25 years.
Yes, exactly. That's the common transaction that happened here for a foreigner. Why it's happened like that? Because that's the easiest way for a foreigner to buy without involving in a big scale of transaction. So example, if you're thinking to buy a freehold property in here, you need to have a company as a foreigner. So for freehold, actually the difference between leasehold and freehold, you're gonna hold a certificate with the freehold property. So you're gonna have a certificate from the government that mention you as the owner of the freehold property. However, as a foreigner, it's not possible for you to own a piece of land in here in Indonesia.
Like
so
only local people
can
have freehold
or
property.
If you are a foreigner, you have a company and your company can own the piece of land.
Okay, so if I want to buy a free land property, I have to create my company here.
Yes. First, you need to create your company, settle down with the business, and then after that, you can look for the land and purchase the property under your company. And other than that, also that you need to know, when you're buying a freehold property, like freehold land, it's not like you're gonna own it forever when it's come to a company. Yeah, doesn't matter it's a local company or a foreign-owned company. Yeah, it's same rules. When a company purchases a freehold property, the title will be switched from freehold title, which is in Indonesia we call it hak milik. Okay, it will be switched to right to build. So in Indonesia we call it hak guna bangunan. Okay, and it will be switched, which means the ownership will be maximum 80 years.
80 years.
Yeah, and it will be split 3 times. Yeah, so the first, it's gonna be the first ownership is 30 years. You have to extend for another 20 years and then another extension for another 30 years. So in total it will be 80 years of ownership.
Quindi praticamente uno straniero non può acquistare la proprietà di un terreno e di una casa, ma bisogna sostanzialmente fare un leasing, un contratto di leasing per diversi anni, 5, 10, 15, 25, lo standard è 25, hai un diritto di utilizzo di questo di questa villa che poi puoi utilizzare come vuoi, puoi viverci oppure puoi affittarla a turisti e quindi è lì il guadagno, cioè cambia il prezzo in base alla durata ovviamente, più lunga la durata, quindi più si avvicina ai 25 anni e più basso sarà il prezzo annuale. Okay, so I can choose 2 different properties that could be available for different periods, no?
Oh yeah, of course.
And these influence the price, of course, no? Because you pay not for own the property, but for the years that you can use
use the property. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So with the leasehold property, it's usually I mean, not all leasehold property always cheaper than freehold, because some area also you can pay a lot of money for a leasehold property, because there's so many interests. However, in certain area, like if example right now we are in Uluwatu here, right? So if you're buying in Uluwatu side, leasehold property is still more affordable compared if you're buying a freehold property.
Here, what I see, there's a lot of projects off plan. What do you suggest? Because it's villas that requires a couple of years to be completed. With you, we will visit some villas that are ready completed. So which are the risks to buy off plan? If there are risks, what do you suggest?
Okay, so this is my personal opinion, so don't judge me. Here, this is my personal opinion as an agent that I've been in the market and I know the situation with all the developer, and for me, I always suggest my client to purchase something that is ready, not purely off plan. So your risk will be less when you already see the property.
Less risk, and less maybe risk. I pay this less risk with like paying more for the property, or not necessarily.
Not necessarily, because some of planned project they're very expensive as well.
Exactly. That is what I'm seeing now. Because I visit some off plan projects, and it was more expensive than some villas that you will show me today. So that's why I have less risk. Because it's already completed, I can see.
And the best thing with the ready villa, you can right away use it for business. For you, example, because you want to use it for business, right? Or example, you want to live in Bali. You can right away move into the property. But with an off plan, you have to wait for example 12 months or maybe 10 months, or maybe 2 years. You don't know. Depends what the property that you are looking for, right? So it's the best with the ready because it's less risk. Definitely, you see what you get, right? And the second, you can use it right away, so you can maximize your profit. So the money that you invest directly you can get the return. Correct?
Of course.
If you do an off plan, okay, maybe it sounds cheaper, but in the end of the day, your investment delayed during the construction progress.
And maybe you change your mind, you find another...
Maybe you have a financial issue to pay the construction, right? And you need your money back right away. Okay, some developer, I know they provide some like exit solution. However, the best when you have ready villa, you can just sell. And you get your money, all your money, and with the profit sometimes.
Ho visitato dei progetti off plan, quindi che saranno pronti in 1 anno e mezzo, per una villa ad esempio con piscina privata ma una sola stanza, quindi una one bedroom, che costava 166.000 euro il progetto, mentre con Feronic il giorno stesso siamo andati a vedere diverse ville, anche ad esempio una in particolare che sarà pronta tra 1 mese, quindi quasi completata, con 3 stanze a 145.000 euro sempre per 25 anni, per cui non sempre comprare off plan è più conveniente rispetto a comprare delle ville quasi pronte o già pronte. Is it possible to get a mortgage for a foreign investor or not?
When you're asking from local bank in Indonesia, there are some banks that provide a mortgage, but for foreigner who's work for Indonesian company. So example, you work for Indonesian company for already 5 years. You have a kitas.
Do you have to be resident in?
Yes.
Fiscal resident in
kitas,
Indonesia.
So we call it kitas. This is a residential permit for foreigner who work in Indonesia. Okay, so you need to have a kitas, and then you already work here. Each bank have different requirement. Okay, so maybe like example 3 years or 5 years you're already in here in Indonesia, and you have also already track record of your income on that bank where you're gonna borrow money.
Could be even another option like less risky at the beginning. We were speaking about it yesterday, to rent at sub-rent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is what I mentioned earlier. Example, if you're not able to do a 25 years lease or 30 years lease, you can rent a property for 5 years or 10 years, and then after that you sublease the property. And if you want to sublease the property, do it under a management company. So don't run the business by yourself, because I see it, back on the, I think the last 5 years or 10 years, a lot of foreigner, they lease a property, they rent the property yearly, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then they run the business by themselves through Airbnb and stuff like that, because Airbnb doesn't have like really a strict rules on who's the owner of this property. Are you really the owner? Do you have license? They don't request that. And the things, I would not suggest you to run the business directly. You can give it to the property management, because there are plenty property management as well here in Bali. You give them, and they're like the one running, like mine. So they run the business. They're gonna pay tax. That's the first thing. Yeah, that's what it's important in here, that you pay tax from the income that you make here in Indonesia. So by doing that, you make sure that this management company paying tax to the government, and you're not gonna have any issue. And also this management company, they're the one have the license, because you as a personal individual foreigner, you don't have license to do business in here, rent out, even it's only 1 room, 2 rooms, you know, or a whole villa.
I should create a company to
get the license. You need to have the company.
So as we said, like for example, for me, that I want to try.
If you just want to
I can rent a villa for 1, 2, or 3 bedrooms, and where the owner give the right to sub-rent, sublease. That's the main problem.
That's the main problem also in here, because example, if you, the difference when you do 25 years lease, the owner said do whatever you want in the villa, something like that, right? But when you lease only 2 years, 3 years, some owners, they prefer the tenant who rent the villa only use it for residential.
Not to sub-rent into business.
To use it as business. So that's the thing. So it's not that easy to find a property. If you got lucky, you find 1 or 2, maybe owner agree doing that. But
are there different prices in different areas in Bali? Can you give some advice about different areas with which target? Because even every single area has a different target. Uluwatu, Canggu, Ubud.
Okay, when
and the prices, and where do you suggest it's more convenient to invest?
When we are talking about different prices, because the factor that you need to consider not only location, but the size of the property as well, and the length of your lease. So example, if you want to lease 5 years and 10 years, when you compare, of course the owner gonna give you the yearly price more expensive when you list it for less. Okay, so
the longer
the lower price you're gonna get, right? So example, it's 2-bedroom villa. If you rent it for 5 years, the yearly price has become 170 million. Okay. And then if you rent it for 10 years, example, it's from 170, it's reduced to 160. You know, so that's also can affect the price. So it's not only location, but also the length of the lease and the size of the property. But when we are talking about budgeting, I always ask my client actually, what is your budget? What you have in mind? Would you consider to do monthly or yearly, something like that for your business? Not only daily rental, because not every area in Bali is suitable for daily rental. Okay, so let's say we go to Canggu. Canggu is the right place where you're thinking for daily rental. They have high interest, of course, over there. And then if you're thinking of Uluwatu, it's not all over Uluwatu right now that already booming. So in Uluwatu, example, towards Bingin, Suluban,
the west coast.
Yes, somewhere around there, they're already like very booming at the moment. But when you're talking about Uluwatu, Uluwatu is big area as well, right? So Pechatu here also it's part of Uluwatu. And then if you go to a little bit south of the temple, example, that area, it's not so crowded like Bingin area. So it's still more affordable. So it's gonna be Depends.
And speaking about the important thing, the thing that investor looking for, the ROI, because here is also different in comparison with Europe, because here you lease a property for 10, 20, 25 years, and so you have to earn more than, for example, buying a property in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, that after 25 years is 100% mine.
Yes.
I have no contract.
Ok, I'm gonna share one.
Qui quello che intendo dire è che bisogna stare attenti a comparare solamente il ROI, il ritorno sull'investimento, perché ad esempio da europeo che acquista in Europa, dopo 25 anni io ho guadagnato dagli affitti e in più ho il 100% di proprietà di un appartamento che posso rivendere e che magari ha anche aumentato il valore stesso dell'appartamento. Quindi ho guadagnato sia dagli affitti che in conto capitale, quindi il valore del mio patrimonio è aumentato perché ho il 100% della proprietà. Mentre nel caso di Bali, dopo 25 anni il mio asset è zero, cioè non ho nessun valore in mano, ho guadagnato solamente dagli affitti, per cui bisogna stare attenti a calcolare questo. Ipotizziamo di avere un 4% in meno all'anno da questo 14%, perché ogni anno perdo teoricamente il 4% del valore del mio investimento, perché ho investito per 25 anni, 100 diviso 25 fa 4, perché manca sempre un anno in meno alla fine, cioè alla fine dei 25 anni il valore ipotetico del mio leasing, meglio dire, è zero. Okay? Poi ci può essere la rivalutazione della zona, di Bali, eccetera, eccetera, quindi questo un po' contrasta. Però bisogna stare attenti a questo, quindi dopo 25 anni, se ho un immobile in Europa, ad esempio, avrò un immobile che si è rivalutato, qui dopo 25 anni ho in mano zero, per cui tutto il guadagno è solamente dato dagli affitti che ho percepito in questi anni. O potrebbe essere che aumenti il valore del terreno, delle ville, qui aumenti tantissimo nei prossimi anni, per cui potrebbe essere che anche in 10 anni prendo un immobile a 25 anni. Tra 10 anni potrei rivenderlo magari allo stesso prezzo con il quale l'ho comprato ora, se il valore degli immobili continuasse ad aumentare, nonostante poi lo rivenderei per solamente 15 anni residui di leasehold. Ora vado perché sta iniziando a piovere un'altra volta. Quindi dipende da che tipo di investimento stai cercando. Penso che ci siano due tipologie di investimento, una per cash flow, quindi creare flussi di cassa, entrate passive che entrano ogni mese, e l'altro per creare patrimonio. E penso bisognerebbe avere un giusto equilibrio che comprenda entrambe queste tipologie di investimento. Investire a Bali potrebbe essere un ottimo investimento per creare cash flow positivo, quindi per entrate passive mensili, perché difficilmente si trovano investimenti che possono rendere più di questo. Chiaramente poi bisogna valutare che ogni rendimento è sempre proporzionato al rischio.
So here's the trick that I always teach my client. Now everybody gonna know this trick. So I hope everybody watching this video gonna contact me because I'm teaching this trick. So here are the things. With a leasehold property, when you're thinking of buying a leasehold property, and then of course the developer gonna offer you a lot of promises, right? But make sure when you make a calculation from that 25 or 30 years of lease, you make sure that within 7 years your money already back. Okay, so
7 years.
So you already get your return, right? So example, you invest $100,000, right? So within that $100,000 already come back to your pocket within 7 years. Okay, you have the calculator. Yes, 100,000 divided by 7 years.
Yeah, so or 14% of ROI.
Something like that. So
net of all costs. The cost of management.
Yeah, of course. So this is the rough calculation, right?
At least 14.2% of ROI to make sense.
Within 7 years, then you make a calculation and you're gonna get the daily rental, how much it's gonna be the daily rental of your property, and you check in the market, is it make sense? Or is it overpriced? Because most of the time the developer promise you an overpriced daily rate. Okay, so if you see on the market, you can check it easily. Airbnb, booking.com, I go to all the online travel agent. you can see in the same area. You just Google Uluwatu or specific Bingin example, yeah. So you go to Bingin, look for 2-bedroom example, 2-bedroom villa. What is the daily rate right now? Yeah, check it during the low season, high season, and the peak season. Peak season in here usually between July and the end, New Year. The New Year. Yeah, New Year time, Christmas, New Year.
And what percentage of occupancy do you think is
standard in Bali? Is 70%.
70% of this. Consider 70% to be conservative.
Yes, exactly. It's conservative because of course
or realistic.
Yes.
From 70 to 80 could be,
I would suggest 70. So you're not like dreaming too high and then got disappointed after if you're not able to achieve it. Because with 70, it's achievable. I can say that 70% it's easily achievable, and even if you're not able to get that 70%, you can right away renting it out for 1 month.
Quindi 14,2% di ROI minimo per avere senso l'operazione. E poi mi raccomando, se magari vi offrono, vedete dei progetti che hanno un 20-25% di ritorno sull'investimento, se lo volete comparare ad esempio con un acquisto di un immobile di vostra proprietà che magari rende l'8%, la differenza tra il 20% di rendimento di investimento qui e l'8% dell'immobile di proprietà non è il 12%, ma sarà meno perché c'è il discorso del capitale che rimane vostro, quello che vi dicevo prima. Can we do a concrete example of numbers? For example, for the villas that we will visit today.
Okay, so example, the one villa, it's a 2-bedroom in Ungasan area. And the price is 800 million for 5 years. Okay. 800 million Indonesian rupiah is roughly 45,000 euro. Okay. And for this kind of property, example, you want to get your return back within 3 years, right? Within 3 years, then you can rent out the property for 1 million per day. You already can easily get that amount within 3 years with occupancy of 70%. We're talking about 70% occupancy.
And 1 million per day net
for you. So because if example you want to increase, because this is already like the bottom price, right? You 2-bedroom nowhere you can find 1 million. It's very cheap. It's very cheap, I can say. So for 2-bedroom, usually you're gonna pay about 2.2 something like that in here. So this is net to you 1 million after all the costs, like to the management, to the staff, electricity, water, internet. So net 1 million to you. You already get your return within 3 years. So the last 2 years, pure your profit. Okay, good.
And because you said it's 5 years.
It's 5 years. The sample for 5 years. Yes. So you're investing for 45,000 for 2-bedroom villa, and then you get your money back within 3 years, and then another 2 years, maybe you can earn like about another 30,000. 25 to 30,000. And this one is realistic number. It's not like dreaming or big, because I'm talking here, it's totally lowest price range, and then only 70% occupancy. You imagine if you rent out the property full occupancy. You get less than 3 years, right?
A nice surprise.
So
Bali is increasing a lot. There are every year more tourists. But also what I see, there's a lot of new constructions. What do you think about the rental prices and also the percentage of occupancy in the next year? Like, it will be more the increasing of the tourists, or more new construction villas, so more competition?
So the things in Bali, tourism is not supported only by the tourists who want to come here, but the government also support Bali with a lot of infrastructure to boost more tourists coming in to Bali. A lot of infrastructure, example like the hospital right now that they're building in Sanur, which is targeted to be opened this year, right? And then also they want to have a theme park in the west of Bali, right? And they make a it's not toll road, but it's not a highway, but it's an access to make the access easily from the south of Bali to the north, Singaraja area. So they make this kind of highway road, a short distance road, because previously, before this highway road exists, you have to go all around the mountain.
Okay.
And it can take you 4 hours to get to the north of Bali. Now it's only 2.5 hours, so less time, right? And this is only few of the action from the government to support the tourism also here in Bali, to make sure that when foreigner come, like more people come to Bali, they can access more thing here in Bali, not only the culture, not only the nature, the culture, but also like medical tourism, you know, all this action, because government want more people come to Bali, not less. So when more people coming to Bali and not so many development for property in Bali, people gonna have an issue to find a hotel to stay, right? So this is the time, because right now the government also push a lot of actions, a lot of activity, like facility, improve all the facility here. And this is the right time also for the property investor, like you, example, come here and start exploring the option that you can do in here.
What I suggest is come here and see with your eyes, and also have an idea of which area you would like to invest more, and how it's moving the different areas.
If you're thinking to invest also in the other side of Indonesia, Bali is not the only place to invest.
I wanted to ask you.
So
there's new places
new development.
Also, no?
Yes, of course. There's a lot of islands. We have like more than 17,000 islands here in Indonesia. So Bali is not the only, but Bali can be the first step you take before you go further.
It's less risky maybe because it's very consolidated.
Yes, here it's the people very open-minded, and people already used to tourism, used to I mean, they already knows how to deal with the tourists. So a lot of accommodation available, activity, facility, and anything already developed for long time already here in Bali. It's different when you go to the other island, that right now is growing.
For example,
you couldn't buy list.
You mentioned Sumba as a
it will be
place.
freehold land.
Also Flores or Lombok could be in there, but I couldn't do a leasing.
It's still not familiar.
Okay.
Some people get lease deal, but it's hard to find that option.
Here so is way easier.
Mostly the transaction will be freehold, and you have to have a company in Indonesia to buy a freehold property land. Sorry. The best to do to start if you're a new investor for Indonesian property investment, it's good to start in Bali, because when you buy property in Bali, people are already familiar, especially in the government. This is another thing. I don't want to talk further, but the government here, it's they already know how to do transaction with the foreigner. They like example for lease property. If you're buying a lease in the other island, doesn't available. That's the thing. Okay, so with here you can have a lease property, and then you can learn, explore more about the property investment in Bali. And once you already feel okay, I really like Indonesia, I want to expand my investment, I want to explore more business, and you're ready to make a company. Once you're ready to have your company here in Indonesia, and then you can explore other area and purchase the property under your company. So the things with taxes, when you buy a leasehold property, usually the one pay tax, it's the seller. Okay. However, the seller pay tax because it's a lease. So they have to pay tax on their income. It's a final tax income from the property, leasing the property. Okay. So if you're buying a freehold, it's different story. Okay. We're talking about lease right now, right? So as a buyer, you don't necessarily have to pay. However, there are some seller doesn't want to pay full amount for their tax, so they ask to split. So sometimes, it's not all the time, but sometimes the seller gonna ask the buyer to do half-half kind of a way to pay the tax. Okay, and when it's come to management, how much it's gonna cost. So when it's you want to hire a management company and you want them to taking care of the property, actually the percentage it's vary, depends on the management company and what kind of services that they provide.
Okay.
Okay, so example, if they only do marketing and then handling check in, check out, they're gonna easily asking for 10, 15, 20% maximum. But if they handle everything like the bookkeeping, you know, because it's they have to hire finance, and then they also do your tax reporting, and then all other thing like the operational also, they're taking care of the operational, it can go up to 50%.
Okay.
Yes, so it depends what you required. What you want them to do for you, for your property.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. And how much taxes do you have to pay for income?
Yes,
on the net.
From income is in here. If you, this is because it's a final tax income, yeah, when it's from a rental property. So usually it's 10% if you have tax number in Indonesia, but if you don't have tax number, the people gonna you have to pay for 20%.
Okay, 20% at Indonesian government.
Yes, but it's easy to get a tax number in Indonesia. You just need to have a kitas, and then you're gonna get. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Really helpful. I hope it will be helpful. I will leave you your contacts here, your company, your email, Instagram account. So who want to invest in Bali can contact you.
Yes, thank you so much, Fabio, for this interview. Thank you so much, and also for sharing my contact later on. I really appreciate it, and I really do hope all the foreign investors who want to invest in Bali or Indonesia, they can always follow the law and regulations, not trying to hide their income and not paying tax, So I always suggest my client give all clear information in the beginning before they put any money in Indonesia. So once they feel comfortable, they're okay, and then they want to play clean and clear, then I'm happy to work with you guys.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Quindi ti saluto da una umida e piovosa Bali. Devi sapere anche questo se vuoi investire qui, quindi devi sapere che da ottobre-novembre fino a marzo c'è la stagione umida, stagione delle piogge, per cui piove quasi ogni giorno. Fammi sapere se il video ti è stato utile, commenta, lascia un commento, mi fa piacere se lasci un commento qui sotto, metti mi piace, iscriviti al canale perché porterò altri video di questo tipo, video relativi a investimenti, al raggiungere la libertà, anche relativi al business, alla spiritualità, ai viaggi, per cui continua a seguirmi, commenta qui sotto se hai domande, ti risponderò io, oppure puoi contattare anche direttamente Veronique. Ciao e alla prossima!